We went to go set the trap, and we were going to set what's called a figure 4 deadfall trap. The figure 4 deadfall trap drops something onto the victim, the prey. And so we got a big ass rock, and we were going to balance it on the trigger of the deadfall trap with the fish guts as the bait. But right as we were placing it and getting it all set up, it started to rain on us, and we had to run back and save the big camera.
Get back, it's raining. Run back and put the camera away.
As soon as it started to rain, everything got really a little bit more complicated. It was nice that we had the cooler out there because it collected a lot of rain.
Okay, so this is the fucking gross ass water we've been drinking all night. Like, look at this shit.
Wait. Show them what it becomes, though, after our unique and patented filtering process.
Right. We filter it.
There's a piece of beef jerky and venison jerky, actually. It's gonna flavor the water up for us.
The hot water. But anyway, I don't mind washing shit in here. In that disgusting piece of water. But I am not going to drink that shit anymore. I don't care if we filtered it or not. It is absolutely disgusting.
Want this?
Yes. That's some good shit.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good.
And then at that point, it was kind of just, you know, we had enough wood to last us the night. As long as we kept it dry. We'd already had our meal. Our stuff was all safe in the shelter. We pretty much just had to keep ourselves dry and keep everything safe. There wasn't really anything we could do at that point except sit and wait through the night.
It's pitch fucking dark out here, and there's no stars or moon because the rain clouds are covering up the sky. There's gonna be a ton of bugs seeking us for shelter.
The only light for miles that you could see was our campfire.
Where are we going?
Just down to the river. Oh, dude, these rocks are gonna be so slippery. We definitely need to go that way.
Yeah. Too slippery for me to go on. Get it?
Yep. All of it.
Turn them off for a sec. Oh. That's a little freaky. That was fucking nuts. Oh, you listen to the world. Nice.
So we got the water a few times, a number of times. Made some more tea, just boiled a lot of water, basically. That's how I kept myself occupied for, I have no idea how many hours. Just boiling water.
Cup after
boiling water, boiling water, boiling water. And all of a sudden it started to rain. And then it started to rain pretty seriously. Then it really became a challenge, keeping the wood dry, keeping the fire going, which is something I'd been tending to all night. But then it got to be really kind of tough, and I had to make sure that I was on top of that.
It is pouring. that it is coming down.
Oh, there's a rock right underneath my ass bone.
When we woke up, it was before dawn. It was like an hour before dawn.
Way before dawn.
No, it was like an hour before dawn.
I guess I'm not sleeping anymore.
What?
I'm not.
Centipede?
I couldn't touch him. I grabbed him and he curled up like he was coming after me. Well, he's on this blanket that's covered in shit. I'm just pulling out the blanket.
We just sat around for an hour doing nothing. Finally, the sun came out. So we made breakfast, which consisted of tea, packed everything up, got ourselves ready to go. And it started to rain again, and then it started to rain even harder than before, which was shitty because we had to climb all the way back, and the rocks are like oil slick. It's just, they're so slippery, you have to be there. When they're dry, they're kind of slick, but you can walk on them. When they're wet, it's really like someone's just put oil on glass. It's ridiculous. So we kind of scrambled and slid and skidded our way as far as we could upstream, and then I tried to go up an area where normally I'm able to...
Right under Candy Rock.
Yeah, right under Candy Rock. And it's to the side of it, and usually I scramble right up that, no problem. It's pretty easy to climb. It's not even a climb, it's really just stepping stones, and it was so wet that I slipped and I fell, and I really got lucky that I didn't hit my head and just get knocked out or fall into the water and die or anything traumatic like that. I was lucky.
Dude, that was scary.
I was scared. When it happened afterwards, I was really happy. I spent the 30 seconds or so just being like, alright, I'm alive. I'm okay, I'm alive, I'm a little bit hurt, but I'm alive. And so it was about that time that it got really too dangerous and too hard to film, because we could barely walk, much less walk and film. And so we had to put everything away, which was unfortunate. We trekked back downstream to where we had come from, because we figured that the only way we'd get across was by crossing the river. But of course we had to keep everything dry, and the river was up from all the rain from the night before and that day, and everything was slippery. So finally we found a relatively shallow area where there were some rocks that we could climb across, and so we went across, and I managed...
Went across by, meaning waist deep across.
Even deeper than that. I mean, at one point...
Yeah, we swam and we threw the camera equipment to each other, like...
Yeah, we had to throw the camera... And I threw my backpack onto that rock, and that's when I fell in. And I was actually up to about here in water, about chest deep. And then we just had to carry it across and like pass it back and forth. And we finally got across. And then we had to go back upstream on the other side, which was a little bit easier, and there was actually a way we could do it. Then we had to cross back at the first pool, the pool that you originally come down from the height that you come across. And so we had to wade back through the water. The rocks were so slippery that Dunne had trouble climbing some of them, and so I wanted him to go one way, but he was afraid to do it because he thought he would slip and fall, which was a legitimate fear. So instead of doing that, he crawled through just a really stagnant, algae-filled, gross little pool of water.
I just put my feet in it.
And then it was gross. And then he made it across, and we had to go back up. I mean, we did things that were dangerous. Most of that walk and climb and hike, every step we took could have ended really poorly. And then because we couldn't go back up the normal way, which is up the really steep rock, which is like glass all the time.
Way too slippery.
It was, I mean, it's just way too slippery. You can't walk up it normally. Like literally can't walk up it normally, much less when it's wet. So we had to go back up the way we came down, which meant climbing back downstream a little bit, going up the mountain some, and then climbing straight up about 30 feet to the little ledge. So we had to do that, throwing the equipment back and forth between each other. And so after we climbed the whole way up there, we realized that the ledge was...
That we had trouble going down in the first
Yeah, the ledge that we had trouble going down in the first place, that we forgot that we had jumped from to get to where we needed to where we climbed down. To get back to the ledge, we had to jump, basically. And I was able, just by the tips of my toes, to stretch my leg out and reach the whole distance and get myself over.
Like,
and the
how
first
far
thing
of a
I
distance do you think that was? Like 5 feet?
Yeah, 5 feet. It was about 5 feet. But I made it, and then Dunne gave me the gear, but he couldn't do it. He was afraid to do it. So he scrambled, I don't even know how he did it, up the side, the blank side of a mountain, using only grass and dirt as hand and footholds, which is pretty impressive. And made his way up actually above where I was, and we both walked back the way we needed to go, and met up at the trail, and then walked up the trail, which at that point was easy, even though it was exhausting.
Yeah, that was the easiest.
It was
part.
exhausting, because it's always exhausting going up that stupid thing, but it was easy. And finally we made it back to the car, which was a relief, but at the same time we were so dirty that we had to like change and all
We
that.
were soaked,
We were completely soaked and like muddy and dirty and just disgusting.
That was a near-death experience, I would say. We couldn't even record it because it was too treacherous for the two of us.
I did almost fall. Was that on camera when I fell?
The one of the times, yeah. The very first time attempt.
That was the big one.
That's on camera. That's when we pretty much stopped recording, but we just hiked like a mile from our campsite.
Straight
uphill on
uphill.
those rocks.
In the rain, the whole time, pouring rain. This is harder than it rained all night, which is good and bad. It means it didn't rain that hard last night,
But
we had to deal with it today.
oh, you hear the thunder?
Let's get the hell out of here, because I don't want this road to turn into a river.
Okay.